What we're witnessing tonight is the loss of a right, the loss of a constitutional right. And that is something that you and I have never borne witness to in our lives. If you pointed out, if you're 50 years old or younger in this country, if you're a woman 50 years old or younger in this country, you've had a right throughout your life to abortion services, a constitutional right to that decision. That is what is being taken away here, a constitutional right.
A constitutional right. After initial draft majority opinion was leaked from the Supreme Court, everyone is talking about how what it said. It was talking about how there's a majority of Supreme Court justices that appear to have gone on board with overturning Roe versus Wade. This has sparked countless conversations. Some people happy, some people that are also happy are also upset about how this is happening. And majority of the country is just upset. So as this all went down, there was Lawrence O'Donnell talking with Rachel Maddow, and Rachel Maddow saw this as even further than just abortion rights being swept up in this kind of decision. Let's watch what Rachel Maddow has to say.
The way that this is written, it undoes a woman's right to decide whether or not she's going to carry a pregnancy to term. But this also absolutely creates the circumstance in which it is possible for them to undermine, to overturn a related ruling called Griswold, which is about the right of people to have access to contraception, even if certain state legislatures decide that contraception is evil, or that we want to call contraception abortion, or we want to otherwise make it unavailable to people. It's a straight line from this ruling not only to banning abortion instantly and potentially nationally, but to also preventing Americans from accessing birth control.
If you think she's crazy, you've heard what many conservative elected officials have said when it comes to all these aspects of women's rights and reproductive rights, even always down to contraception, as long as it's something that's directly affecting the woman. So we saw from the lib side of this here, at least if you could see that from as far as Maddow and Lawrence O'Donnell goes, what's Marjorie Taylor Greene thinking of this? Because she's definitely happy about it, amongst other conservatives. Watch what she had to say.
I just want to make an announcement, and I'm sorry I'm overwhelmed with emotion, because this is the best news of our lifetime. The Supreme Court has voted to overturn abortion rights. There's a draft opinion out now to overturn Roe versus Wade, and this is a great victory. It's a great victory for God and the unborn who have been innocently slain for years, my entire lifetime.
You can see through all of her real emotion there that she cares about this subject, specifically about the unborn that she was not crying about, that she wanted you to think she was crying about. Really quick, Francesca, the details of what's going on here, I'm sure everyone knows, but let's go through it. Supreme Court has voted, it seems, to strike down the landmark Roe versus Wade decision, according to an initial draft majority opinion, and that was written by Justice Samuel Alito. That was circulated inside the court and obtained by Politico. We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled, he writes in document, labeled as the opinion of the court. It's time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. Now, again, for those who don't know about this draft opinion, it's not definitive and it's not the final word, it's just what it seems to be. So on that, deliberations on controversial cases have in the past been fluid. Justices can and sometimes do change their votes as draft opinions circulate, and major decisions can be the subject of multiple drafts and vote trading, sometimes until just days before a decision is unveiled. The court's holding will not be final until it is published, likely in the next 2 months. So there is where I want to jump in here with you, Francesca, because there's, I guess, the thought process as to whether or not this is what's just happened. Because everyone's like, Roe v. Wade has been overturned. Some are saying that. This is the draft opinion that is what it seems to be what's going to happen. This happens with all of these kinds of decisions. It's just usually we don't see them before they get to voting on it. Yeah. That's now why we're talking about this earlier on and what those ramifications could be.
Yeah, abortion is still legal. It is still the law of the land in this country. So you can still get an abortion. You can still order abortion pills should you need an abortion in the future. Stock up on Plan B. These are concrete ways that all people can protect themselves, no matter whether you can get pregnant or not. Why not have it? Remember, this is a right that protects all people, all right? Men too.
Exactly.
Men as well. People who can't get pregnant as well. So I just want to talk about, like, just put that aside. It is not law of the land that it has been overturned. But the other thing to know is that in state after state after state, the Roe v. Wade has been chipped away at. And Roe v. Wade actually, as we're finding out, actually was not that strong to begin with, right? Passing in the 70s and then not being actually fortified for years and years and years. I mean, at some point, if it's not going to be fortified, it's going to be atrophied and it's going to be overthrown. What I will say is we saw this day coming. We've seen it coming for a long time. As soon as Trump got elected, look, I love to laugh at the pussy hat folks just as much as everyone else, but I was there in DC that day. I've never seen, in fact, it was the largest single day of protest in American history. And it was insanely multi-gender, multiracial, multi-class. It was intergenerational, and there was a reason. And I'm telling you, it was civil rights. It was the right to choose. It was what could be coming down the pike, gay marriage being taken away. It was, obviously access to contraception being taken away. Not to mention we're electing, an orange fascist to office. But we knew this was coming. So it's like anyone who's surprised hasn't been paying attention, and everyone who said the Supreme Court might not have mattered. Well, I hope everyone obviously is eating their words at this. There's so much blame to go around. I'm so angry about it. But last thing I'll say on his ruling, this reads like hate mail. I'm telling you. Yeah. Alito's draft decision is so sniveling and untrue. In it, he says there's no constitutional right, there's no constitutional. You guys, it does not say abortion in the Constitution, but what it does say, and what the Republican-led Supreme Court said, was that based on issues of privacy, your own personal bodily autonomy, the government can't say whether you're going to become a parent or not. They just can't. They can't force you to carry a baby to term because that's your own private property, is your effing body. That is the constitutional right.
If we pose it the way we do if it's another country that, look, the government telling its women to have babies so they can, fulfill their armed forces obligations. Maybe they want to have a superhuman athlete, so they put two super tall athletic people together and say, have a child for the government. If we pose it that way, which we have for other countries, it might not sound like America anymore. But as long as we say it's for the babies and act like you're crying, we can say we're these Americans who are looking to protect the unborn. Really fast, because Mike Huckabee was on a panel on Fox News talking about this. And he's not even happy that the way libs are posing this, which we cleared up there, is that with this potential overturning Roe v. Wade, that it's gonna be illegal nationwide. He's upset that that's being even talked about that way. Watch really quickly.
The overturning of Roe v. Wade does not end abortion. That's what they have said, and it's a big lie. It simply takes it out of the hands of 9 people wearing robes appointed for life, and it puts it in the hands of the American people through their elected representatives, where it should have been all along. Some states will have more abortions. Some states, like my home state, won't have any. That's what it will do, and it's unfair to say it ends abortion. I wish it did, but it won't. It simply gives it back to the people.
He wishes it did, but it won't. A state like his, Arkansas, will have it, he says. And Sean Hannity actually asked a pretty good follow-up question here, because he said, wait, your state won't have any? Watch.
You don't believe the state of Arkansas would have any exceptions at all?
We passed a constitutional amendment in 1986 that made life from conception as part of our Constitution. So the reason that we have waited is to see a court ruling from the Supreme Court that gave us the capacity to fulfill that. So that's exactly what it would be.
Francesca, they've been saying the same thing for years. He had said it in a roundabout way, but what he said was absolutely no exceptions. That's what we're waiting on, for this decision, so we can have no exceptions in our state and hopefully across the country.
And I believe Arkansas may be one of the 13 states that have trigger bans, which is when Roe v. Wade is overturned, their draconian bans will no longer have to go to the Supreme Court, which is what he wants. That's what Roe did, was make states that want to pass these draconian laws have to go argue it at the highest levels in order to basically undermine what is a right. And so, but I love the follow-up. First of all, 4 dudes on a panel, Fox News talking about abortion. Bless you. You never change / die. Like the follow-up isn't so no exceptions. The follow-up is so no abortions, because that's untrue. So you're saying you will have no abortions in Arkansas. No. What he's saying is he will have no legal abortions. People will still get abortions, and they may die from abortions. What this does, and I love that he does not understand it. Oh yeah, you could go to California, you could go to New York, go to these other states where there are abortion. Meanwhile, Arkansas women, they're gonna die. They're gonna, if they can't get there, they'll try to perform an abortion themselves. They maybe get bad medical advice. They maybe are unable to pay, and they may die. That's it. Maybe they're dying already because of this pregnancy. Maybe the fetus is dying because of the pregnancy. Either way, people will die. Yay!
Well, at least,
please,
at least those women can get some great health care in the country that's been easily accessible. That's been given to them by these same Republicans that care about their life and their life of their unborn child. Because we're number one when it comes to that, right?
No.
No, we're not.